Okay, so this is probably one of the most important videos I'll ever make. About a week ago, I showed my mom how much I made from music this month, how much I made from YouTube this month, and how much I made from my private community this month. And I'm not gonna lie, it did get a little bit emotional. I mean, I'm definitely no Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, but I definitely do have shit saved up, right? So, I just want to say real quick though, this is not about money. This YouTube video is not about money. It's about success. It's about way more than money. A little over a year ago, my mom told me like, hey, I really don't think that this music stuff is working out and you should do something else. And I remember I was at a very burnt out period at that time. I was a little bit depressed. I was kind of like, directionless is the best way to put it. And I was like, yeah, maybe this shit isn't for me. Maybe somebody else can do this better. So I took a short break and I really did want to keep on doing this because quite frankly, I fucking love this shit. I love YouTube. I love music. I love straight out. This is like a little tangent, but I deadass feel like I have the most positive community in the underground and I am thankful for that every day. But anyways, I really still wanted to try. Fast forward a little bit, I posted this video and this was honestly the video that changed my whole fucking life. This is what really showed me that this is all possible and there's definitely an audience that wants to hear what I have to say. And yeah, fast forward to now, everything seems a little bit better and I'm definitely not depressed anymore. But it really does make me think like, what if I listened? What if I threw in the towel and I was like, you know what, this shit is not for me? A lot really can change over a year and I don't want this video to be don't listen to anybody. This video is about how to find the people to listen to, how to be around the people that you actually want giving advice. Because of course I fucking love my mom, bro, but that advice really wasn't that good, I'm not gonna lie. And the other day I actually did ask her like, do you remember this? Do you remember saying this to me? And she was like, no. So sometimes people's words really don't carry that much weight. And this is something that I've realized over time. Sometimes people say stuff to you and to them it's just like a passing comment. But to you, it can flip your whole world upside down. Something else that happened that was pretty similar to this, except for instead of my mom saying don't do this, it was my entire family. It was all my friends. They were like, do not do this. This is gonna ruin your career. So this was at the end of last year. I think this was around November, October, around there. So it was almost a year ago, and around that time, I was like taken pretty seriously in the underground YouTube space, I would say. I mean, I definitely had supporters and people fucking with me, but the thing is that I was making YouTube videos on how to go up in the underground, but me myself, I did not have any crazy success with music, right? At that time, I was mainly helping other people and I was getting their music to go up, but I mean, who are you gonna trust more, right? Are you gonna trust the guy that actually has his own music experience and he went up in music, or somebody that says they help other people? Even if the person that shows that they help other people can show receipts and shit, I don't know, man. The person that actually did it themselves, that's who you're gonna go with, right? And the thing is, I don't want to cause any beef here, but a lot of the people in my niche, a lot of people in the how to go up in the underground niche, they have not fucking done this shit, bro. I mean, of course a few of them have, but most of them, they have no clue what the fuck they're talking about, bro. And I kind of felt like I was being lumped in with them, right? I mean, people would watch my videos, but they wouldn't really take it seriously. So I had this idea and I was talking about it to one of my friends and I was like, bro, I think that I'm gonna start from zero and document every single fucking thing that I do to go up in the underground. We were on a walk and I was like spitting out this master plan of, yeah, bro, I'm gonna document every little thing. I'm gonna put it in my private community and it's gonna be awesome and people are gonna follow along and it's gonna be fucking lit. And he was like, bro, you should not do that. And I was like, why? Like, this shit is awesome. Nobody has ever done this before. And he was like, you're gonna fail, bro. And nobody's gonna trust you anymore because you publicly documented a failure. And honestly, I do get it from that perspective. Going up in music is hard, bro. Like, I get it, but it just wasn't gonna happen. I was not gonna fail. There was no way I was gonna fail. I forgot to mention as well, but a lot of the things that I was saying, they were a lot more intense than just document my come up in the underground. For example, the rules that I was saying to him, and by the way, I did actually do these rules in the documentation. Little spoiler here, but I did go through with it. Basically, I wasn't allowed to use paid promo for the first 1,000 monthly. I wasn't allowed to post on my YouTube, Instagram, or anything like that until 1,000 monthly. I also was not allowed to use any connections that I have until 1000 monthly. And it's kind of funny because to this day, I still haven't used any paid promo or I haven't used any connections, and I've done almost 1 million streams since the start of this documentation. And you know, the thing is, this is what made people fucking take me seriously. Documenting everything that I do to grow my music from zero so everybody else in the community can follow along. This is what made people really be like, damn, this shit is legit. I gotta get the fuck in that community, bro. If I listened to my boy on that walk, and you know, of course I fucking love my boy. If I listened to him though, I'd probably still just be sitting here, no music success, with only probably a few thousand subs, bro. Like, I got so much more respect whenever I actually started documenting my own music journey. And, you know, I do have one last story. It's a little bit shorter, but after this, I am going to talk about how to actually find the people that you want in your circle. So, this was a while ago again. This is probably maybe even 2 years ago, honestly. I actually just checked and this was 2 years ago. This is when I was pretty new to FL Studio. I was probably only a few months in, and I was hanging around my cousin a lot at that time. It's kind of funny because the love that we both had for underground music, that's really what got us like super close, you know? When we both were making music, that shit was like really fun. So one day he pulls up, he comes over to the house, and there was like 2 other people there. It was his friend. After a quick smoke sesh, we came inside and we hopped on FL Studio and everything was pretty chill, and I made like this really shitty melody looking back, but I thought that shit was like fire, bro. And I remember my cousin, he was like, bro, this shit is so fucking ass, get off the PC. And for the next like 30 minutes, I watched him just make a full beat. And yeah, that beat was infinitely better than what I was making. And I remember at the time I was kind of like, damn, you know, he called my shit ass, he said my music wasn't good, all that. But I remember shortly after that, you know, he really was the one that taught me how to actually make good music, you know, how to actually produce good on FL Studio. And a lot of his techniques and shit were passed down to me, right? Because he's been making music for probably 7 years at this point. He's been going for a long time. But yeah, in this video, we have 3 different experiences. We have 3 different, you know, situations where somebody is saying, don't do this, I know better, or like, you know, shit along those lines, right? But what actually was it that made my cousin's advice so much more valuable and like real advice that I needed to hear rather than the other 2, right? I hope you guys get what I'm saying. Why was my cousin's advice the only one that mattered here? This is what I would ask myself before you really take somebody's advice seriously. Number 1, before anything, I feel like this is a pretty decent filter. If the person giving advice has actually been in your shoes before, that's a pretty good sign to take what they say seriously. For example, my cousin has been making music for like 5 years at that point. He knows that you don't boost the fuck out of the low end on a melody. That shit just does not make sense. So if somebody has actually been in your position, that's a sign that you should at least go on to the next filter. The next filter is figuring out if they're going off of vibes or if they're going off of actual evidence. For example, whenever my mom said you should just quit, that was 100% a vibe, because look, she really did not understand the full picture. I mean, she didn't even know my alias online. And I also was making a little bit of money off of selling leases, and you know, my YouTube, it had something, right? I'm pretty sure I even had like 1,000 subscribers at this point. I clearly did have something, but you know, since I was already burnt out, hearing you should just quit was enough to make me quit for a month, right? My boy also saying, man, don't open up a community and don't document everything. That's 100% a vibe, right? Him automatically thinking that I'm gonna fail, that's a vibe. You know, there's no evidence. The only evidence that he has is like, I hear that growing in music is hard, but I'm not in music, I really don't know. And lastly, you want to figure out how bad it would be if they were right. For example, if you tell your parents like, look, I want to drop out of high school to go for this music shit, the parents are probably going to be like, look, you know, doing this is extremely irresponsible, you're less likely to get a job, you at least have to get a high school diploma, all this shit, right? And the thing is that is all actually true, you know? Do not drop out of high school, you know, this is a little tangent, stay in school. But if your boy's like, look, your music really isn't that good and I can help you, you know, make it better, you really don't lose anything there. Worst case scenario, your boy really can't teach you and you waste 45 minutes, but you didn't really lose much, right? So yeah, you want to figure out if people are talking just based on vibes. You want to know if they've actually been in your position. And lastly, you want to figure out how much risk there is if you don't follow their advice. Alright guys, I think that's pretty much it. And if you want to go up in the underground, I have a private community, and in that community, I'm documenting everything that I'm doing to grow my music. You can also talk to me one-on-one in there, ask questions, post on the message board, all that. I'll see you guys later. Peace.